Hey guys, Peter here, back again for another video. And I'm totally pumped for today's video because it is going to be a continuation of our Phanteks website redesign series. And if you haven't seen the first two videos yet, I would highly suggest you check them out so that you can see the redesign for the homepage and the product page. For today's video, we'll be working on the where to buy page as well as the about page. Again, I will still be explaining to you what is wrong with the current design of these pages as well as my design decisions. Wanna get the ball rolling? Sit back and let's get started. So this is the where to buy page. Basically, this is an interactive map where you can click on the red parts and see distributors in that area. It looks okay at a glance, but there are a couple of problems here that I want to outline so that you guys know why I decided to redesign this page. First of all, you cannot zoom into individual cities. Instead of just using an SVG map here, it will be a better idea to use Google Maps API because instead of just having the countries, the user will be able to zoom into their particular city and find places where they can buy Phanteks products. Plus, with this layout, the user might not know where their country is on a map, so that is a problem. I also realized that this page is also not responsive. This is because the SVG map takes up the whole width of the page and it doesn't have media queries to make it work on mobile, and in 2022, that is a big no-no. The next page that we are going to redesign is the About page. For all intents and purposes, this page is fine. We have some content that the user can read, like how the company started, a short sentence about their products, and what is planned for the future. But that's it. It doesn't have the oomph that you are looking for in the design. And the typography is also fairly basic, and the About page is a very important part of the company site because it is where the company can tell their story. So that's it. These are the two pages that we will be redesigning. Now let's hop onto Figma and start creating our designs. Oh, by the way, if you like this kind of videos, consider subscribing. I talk about web design, branding, development, tech, and a whole lot more in the channel. And your guy will be very happy if he can get 100 subscribers. So back to design. So we start again with an empty artboard and add the header that we created for the homepage and the product page. For the where to buy page, I want to utilize the Google Maps API so that the user can zoom in and out indefinitely instead of just using it for countries. This way, our users will be able to find distributors that is local to them instead of just clicking on a map. We will also be utilizing the browser's GPS functionality so that they don't even have to click on their country in the map. It will just find the nearest distributors near their location. And this is very useful because we are basically cutting the amount of time the user spends searching for sellers instead of having them click on a couple of links to do the job. But aside from that, we will still give them the option to find sellers manually on the left side of the page. One big aspect of user experience is optimizing repetitive tasks and just doing it for the user, but still give them the option to do the job themselves if for some reason the user opts not to use the automatic way or it doesn't work altogether. The next component that we are going to add is the distributors component. Instead of just going with the normal modal look here where the component is loaded in the center, I want our component to have the same aesthetic as the whole website, so we are going with a bottom drawer look. This way, our map is still visible on the page and the context of where the user clicked on the map and the distributors from that area is not lost. In our sidebar, I added a drop-down list of our continents as well as each specific country under the continent. And since obviously there's a lot of countries in a continent, we can use the IP address of the user to know which country they are in and open that drop-down first. But for example, that's not what they want. Maybe the user wants to look for distributors that are not in their country. They can still use the search box at the top. As UI designers, you should cover all the use cases when you are designing your interfaces. I also added an indicator to the chosen country so that the user know where they currently are in the search process. Always remember your component states when you are designing your UI, be it for hover, active, or what have you. You always tell the user where they are and what is happening in the interface. It may seem second nature to you, but you are the designer. You already have context and bias because you are the one creating the designs, and your users don't. So that's it. This is now our final where to buy page. The next page that we'll be redesigning is the about page. So again, let's start with a new artboard and add our header from the other pages. My idea here is to just use good typography to do the heavy lifting for the design, as well as use images from the Phanteks YouTube channel to complement the typography. So first, let's add a quick tagline explaining what the company does and why they are good at it. The thing about taglines, copy, text, and other written content is that it has to work around your design. So your job as a designer is to create the balance of text and images and other components in the page, and make sure that everything is laid out in a cohesive and consistent way. After that, you ask the content team to write the actual content because what you added probably sucks. Whenever I design pages like this, I always put it in the back of my head that all the text and images are just placeholder and eventually will be changed by something else. After the tagline, let's add a big hero image that really encompasses the idea of the company. I know that Phanteks is a technology company and are in the gaming space, and usually gaming companies have a certain aesthetic to them with angular images like this and bright flashy design, but I want the new brand to be more mature and cleaner. The next section would be the story of the company. We are gonna add a title here and a paragraph on the right. I want this section to be just plain text so that the user can focus on reading it instead of putting more pictures. For the next section, we will be reusing the same grid that we had on the homepage to showcase these products. You might think, hey Peter, you are just reusing components from the other pages. And yes, partly true, but in this case, it also makes sense because we are talking about a company here, right? The last section that we are going to add is just an image on the bottom to finish up the page. And that's it. I guess we are done. We will just add the footer that we already created and this page is officially finished. So before we end the video, let's talk about the pages that we did and what my thoughts about it are. When you are creating a UI that uses a map, you should always think about convention and how people are used to doing certain things. The reason why I went to the sidebar on the left and the map on the right is because this is how Google does their Maps UI. When it comes to user experience, unless you are designing very groundbreaking and new, chances are that UI has already been designed before, and there's no shame in copying that. But that doesn't mean you should copy everything though. You add your own flourish to them and make it your own. Another thing is, you should always strive for consistency when it comes to your UI components. If you are using rounded corners for your search boxes, your other search boxes should have the same radius as well. If your cards have shadows in them, the other cards in the page should have the same shadow parameters as well. With this mindset, your designs will look more cohesive instead of looking like a jumbled mess, and it will make your designs more professional and more thought out of. So that's it guys, I hope you enjoyed the video and I'm very happy with how this series is going so far. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below and I will do my best to answer them. And I will also leave a link to the other 2 videos in the series so that you can check them out. I hope you have a great day and I'll see you on the next one.